I'm the founder of the charity Cancer Hair Care, where we've created a campaign called Hair Loss Friendly Spa. This is a training video where I'm going to share with you some tips and ideas and expertise about how you can take extra special care of a guest that you're offering a therapy to. Now, it may be that you're working for a big spa group, or perhaps you're somebody who is taking part in some special cancer training. Perhaps you work for a big spa group, or maybe you work independently. Whoever you are and however you offer your therapies, thank you very much for taking the time out to educate yourself and watch some information that I hope will really help your spa guest feel extra special. So it's not a mystery that many women lose their hair during chemotherapy treatment for cancer, and as a spa therapist it may be that you're the person who they come and talk to, and actually might be one of the very few people who see them when they're without hair. So that's where we're going to start. Throughout this project, I've spent time with lots of lovely spa therapists who've shared with me their hopes and wishes for their spa guests, and many people have said that they'd like some helpful language to use when they see somebody with no hair. As one lovely young therapist put it, she had an awful experience when a lady came in, removed her wig, the therapist had no idea she was wearing a wig and she was quite shocked. She stumbled to find the right words and ended up saying, "Oh, because you're bald, would you like to put your wig over here?" And she said to me, that was the last set of words I wanted to use. I didn't want to say to her that she was bald, but I couldn't think of another word. So let's start there. If we're working with women with hair loss, what people often want is some words that we can use which are kind and thoughtful. So a really nice set of words to use with somebody is hair-free. So for example, if a guest comes into your therapy room, it may be that they're wearing a very realistic wig and you have no idea that they're hair-free, even though perhaps they've booked in for a special lighter touch type of treatment because they're either currently having chemotherapy or recently recovering. So when they take their wig off, that might be a surprise to you. So you could simply say, "I've noticed that you're hair-free. Would you like to store your wig on a wig stand, in a box or in a bag?" So just using that subtle soft word, "I've noticed that you're hair-free," is a really nice professional way for you to greet your guest when they arrive. If somebody is wearing a wig, this is a wig stand that you can have ready in your therapy room to pop a wig on, and this makes such a difference to somebody. Many women who took part in helping us create this campaign fed back to us that when they did go for a spa treatment, there was nowhere special to put their wig and it really put them off. So if somebody has a long wig, then I'll show you in a moment a longer type of wig stand, but this type of one is ideal for somebody with a shortish wig. You just pop it on the stand and then you can pop that snugly to one side where the wig will sit properly, it won't get oils on it, and it just looks and feels professional. With a longer wig, you might need something more like this. So this is a very tall wig stand which you can easily hang a longer wig on, but don't worry if you don't have to hand any of these specialist items, because you can simply take a towel, which you'll have in your therapy room, and you can simply pop a wig inside it and just wrap the wig up gently. It's fine to wrap up a wig and let that just be beveled into a towel. It won't destroy the shape or the style of the wig, and then somebody will just be able to unwrap it after the treatment. Additionally, you could use something like a clean empty vase, you can use a peg to hang up a wig, or you can use any long angular object that you can just safely and securely hang a wig on. And last but not least, you can also just pop a wig in something like a very simple organza or hessian bag. These are the types of things that you all have around your spas to hand, but of course for somebody when they're hair free, it's the thought that counts, that you've thought that through for them and they're not just shoving their wig in their handbag, popping it on the stool where it might fall off. Having a safe and secure place to put a wig is a really nice offering to your guest. So if your guest is hair free, we lose a lot of the heat out of our head. So just like we would always cover the feet, make sure they're nice and snug so that when somebody's laying down, their body temperature doesn't drop too so much, so too is the head a very important area. Now, a guest may have come into your room wearing a wig or some headwear, taken it off, and you put it away nice and securely for them. They might be feeling quite warm, but throughout the treatment, I would expect them to lose a lot of heat out of their head, and therefore they could get really cold quite quickly. So again, being being a spa professional and noticing that is really important. So the simple language we could use is, because you're hair free, your body temperature might drop quite quickly. Would you like me to wrap a towel around your head to keep you warm? Or perhaps you might have in your spa some nice hair loss friendly headwear such as this. Now this is a cosy, and the reason something like this is ideal for people when they're going through a massage is because it has no knot at the back. So that simply stretches over the head, delicately covers the entire hairline area, and that's why it's a specialist piece of headwear, specially designed for hair loss and alopecia wearers. And that will be nice and snug and comfortable. It's not too thick, it's not going to get in the way of your massage either. So you've got a couple of options for somebody. You could quite easily allow them to be totally hair free. Perhaps you're going to be massaging their scalp. If they get cold, make sure you have a nice towel, a very soft towel to hand that you can wrap around their head for them. Or perhaps you'll have some nice headwear that they can put on. Having options means that you can feel really professional and somebody's dignity is really maintained. Many women said to me that they were delighted to see so many spas have now trained to do special treatments which are suitable for people during and post-cancer treatment. But the big fear for a lot of women was coming along, being hair free and wondering how the therapist might cope with that and if they would indeed know what to do. Of course, you're taking the time to watch this video and train, so you already know about storing their wig, you know about keeping their head at a good temperature and making them have the dignity that they need by wrapping a towel or having some headwear during the treatment. So a couple of things which I'd like to tell you, which is likely to affect during a treatment, is something to do with the loss of nose hairs. So it's obvious when we've lost the hair from our scalp, but the loss of nose hairs really affects people's ability to smell and identify fragrances. So fragrances that somebody could have liked before might seem really overwhelming. This will be really important if you're offering people a selection of fragrances for a massage oil. So it's really good for you to know that you might want to, number one, acknowledge that for somebody and say, if you've lost your scalp hair during chemotherapy, it's highly likely you've lost the hairs in your nose as well. And for that reason, I'm going to offer you some very gentle fragrances. You know, when I work with women and I mention about the nose hairs, often people say, oh my goodness, I haven't thought about that. Thank you. That's why my nose runs sometimes. That's why smells are really sensitive to me at the moment. And as a spa professional, these are the types of little tips and hints and things you can discuss with people. And you know what? You might be the only person that's actually said that to them. And when people are empowered with knowledge, it means that they feel that they can make choices that are suitable for them. Now, I know that many of you will be very used to doing smell tests for guests, so just to be aware that it can take up to 18 months for the nose hairs to fully regrow post-chemotherapy treatment. It's the same for the hair on the head. Whilst after 18 months we'd expect quite a good covering, what can happen is you might find that the hairs on the nose are slower growing, and so the sense of smell can take quite a while to recover fully. So simple offering, as we've said, just being aware of that hypersensitivity. Also trigger smell. So it may be that people were using certain fragrances during treatment and they can really trigger somebody when they then go after post-treatment to have a massage. A common one is lavender. So lots of people might be using things with lavender to help them through their treatment. But post-treatment, if you offer somebody lavender or indeed any kind of fragrance that reminds them of treatment, they might have a really very quick and quite blunt and powerful reaction to that. So again, it's really great for you to know that that's all interconnected with losing the nose hairs, having a heightened sensitivity, and then that trigger smell, reminding somebody of when they went through a time in their life that wasn't good for them. Okay, so we've gone through that one, and the next thing I want to tell you about is scalp care. So if you're selecting products maybe to do a massage on somebody's scalp, there's a couple of things that are really important to consider. So number one, if somebody's come in wearing a wig, at the beginning of treatment, it's worth asking them if once they've finished their massage, they're going to go out wearing their wig again. The reason this is important is it may be that you use some lovely oils on their scalp, but it may be that after the treatment's finished, you want to use a nice hot steamy towel to gently lift off those oils so there's nothing slippery and oily if they're going to put a wig on again, because the last thing you want is for them to get lots of oil over their wig or for it to slip. It's the same if someone comes in wearing a scarf or some headwear. Again, you just want to make sure that it's not too oily, and that will be really reassuring for somebody, because then they can enjoy having those lovely oils on their scalp, knowing that you're going to remove them for them, and perhaps giving them an extra 5 minutes at the end of the treatment so they can spend time to replace their wig or put their headwear on. So when it comes to looking after the scalp, you'll have a range of products within your portfolio that you use. And what I'm going to do is offer you some key ingredients which are really great both for nourishing a bare scalp and also for new hair growth. So number one on my list, and I'm sure you know all about it, is coconut oil. So a little bit of coconut oil is absolutely lovely to use on the scalp. It's lovely to tell your guests about it, because most people have coconut oil at hand, maybe in the kitchen, and it's a really easy go-to, nice light oil. Don't use too much. Really important, especially if somebody's very new to using an oil on their scalp. You need a tiny, tiny dab worked through the palms of the hands, and then that's just enough to gently massage over the scalp. Rosemary oil is another key ingredient. So rosemary is very well known for being used in hair loss remedies and in lots of hair care products to stimulate new growth. It's something that also people have heard of, which can be really helpful for people when they're recovering from chemotherapy, because when you introduce somebody to something that they know about, it can just feel safe and something that is familiar to them to use. So although rosemary has a very, very strong fragrance, so you might want to use it with obviously with a carrier oil that will maybe dilute that a little bit. The nice thing about rosemary is people can add it into their shampoos, conditioners and oils at home themselves. So it's a lovely opportunity for you as a spa professional to introduce somebody to something like rosemary oil. Lovely for massaging the scalp, and said to have properties which really do help to rejuvenate both the skin on the scalp and help to stimulate and promote good new hair growth. So it's a really lovely, very poignant fragranced oil to introduce people to. Another ingredient that I love is aloe vera, and many of you will probably find that throughout your portfolio of products available to recommend to people, aloe vera features in a lot of products, and this is, I'm sure as you know, because it has excellent cell rejuvenating qualities, which is great for somebody's scalp if they're bare, and also lovely to create a lovely platform for new hair growth. If somebody's finding that oils are too much for them, especially actually wig wearers or people that are just finding that it's too much for their scalp and feels too cloggy, then it might be a good idea to offer an aloe vera gel. Aloe vera gels are really lovely and light on the scalp. When you're testing products that you have available in your portfolio of products perhaps that you use, it's a really good idea actually to test a product not on the palm of your hands, but on your arm, especially if you've got just a little bit of hair, because this actually really replicates the scalp. So somebody might look completely hair free, but quite soon, and even towards the end of chemotherapy, people start to get a little layer of hair growing. So it's much better to try product and see how that sinks into the skin on your arm, letting it sink in through those very tiny arm hairs, because that will really replicate the scalp. So when you're looking at the products that you have available, think of day creams. Think of light moisturising oils that you might use on the face. And also, last but not least, try and find things that aren't very heavily fragranced. So if you have a fragrance-free product, for example, like a day moisturiser, that could be ideal as well. So coconut oil, rosemary oil, aloe vera and fragrance-free. They're 4 key ingredients that I would recommend that you look for within products. So hopefully that's given you a bit of an overview of how you can really take care of your spa guest, being knowledgeable and really making sure their spa journey is as kind and nurturing to somebody going through cancer treatment and hair loss as possible. Hair loss doesn't always occur during chemotherapy treatment, but it's very, very common for people being treated for breast cancer and other cancers. However, alopecia or hair loss happens to people not only during chemotherapy treatments, but for many other reasons. So whilst we're specialising this training to do with your cancer support therapies, it's also good to be really mindful if people come in and they are hair free for another reason. This service could be helpful to them as well. If you are looking to signpost your guests for more information, they can come to the charity website cancerhaircare.co.uk, and you might like to take a look as well at our information about understanding the hair loss and regrowth cycle due to chemotherapy. We have lots of lovely free resources also that your guests might like to know about, such as these dollies that are hair free and come with all little different hats and scarves, and they turn cleverly inside out so that young children can understand the hair loss journey. This is really helpful to a mum, for example, that's going to lose her hair during chemotherapy. And we've also got free items such as children's play packs, which also talk about hair loss to children, and lots of expert information and guidance from before, during and after hair loss due to chemotherapy. Thanks so much for watching this video and for sharing with me your time so that you can look after your guests when they're hair free. Thanks and bye for now.